They need a bigger star. They need a big star to come back in.
They certainly do.
That's what they need.
They certainly do.
But they've lost another one, apparently. All right, am I hearing now that the savior of the WWE, the last time somebody got fired and they created a big stink and a big controversy and then that died down, Sasha Banks now not going back to the WWE, going to New Japan Pro Wrestling for big money?
That's the story. Apparently, she left when Vince was still running things. She was not planning on coming back. They were going to give her a release as long as she didn't do anything until the new year. Then they were trying to talk to her again. Who knows what's true and what isn't and what's fair and what isn't, but the word that's going around is that she wanted more money than most. And the other word that went around, and I actually saw Dave Meltzer report on this, was that they didn't see her, WWE didn't internally, as having the same value as a Charlotte Flair or a Becky Lynch. So she kind of priced herself, and what, at least according to what they're saying, she priced herself out. She apparently got a major deal with New Japan. They leaked that it was better than Jericho's deal, and then Jericho immediately put out some kind of statement that his deal was better than people realize or giving him credit for. It was a bizarre...
Wait a minute. Jericho's is bigger than Sasha Banks's, is what he's saying.
On a country road. That's exactly what he's saying there. And the word is that Sasha Banks, originally Mike Johnson broke the story, that she was going to be at the Tokyo Dome. No one knew if she was going to be making an appearance or wrestling, and now people are assuming she'll be wrestling. I don't even know what kind of question... this is your show. I don't have any questions here.
Well, first of all, you said she asked for more money than most. Is that a new negotiating tactic? I want more than most, but I'll take more than half.
I don't know how to put it, because you don't... when you hear people say she asked for ridiculous money, it's in the context of the person saying it, not the person who thinks they deserve it.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's try to look at all this individually. Number one, can Sasha Banks in any way, shape, or form claim that she's on the level of Charlotte Flair or Becky Lynch or even Bianca Belair at this point? Or at any point?
What do you mean by on the level of?
Well, I mean, as far as... I don't pay a ton of attention to most of the girls over there. But is she as valuable? Is she as over? Does she have the matches of? Does she have the following of? Or contribute the value to the overall women's roster and the company in general of a Becky Lynch, who was one of the hottest person in the business a few years ago, had to have a baby, but came back still is over. Or Charlotte Flair, who's
had to have a baby. She's very happy she had a baby.
She had to have a baby right in the middle of the biggest run of her life.
Worked out good.
It was that out of the way.
The pandemic ended up being right there. Worked out perfect.
Well, but anyway, Charlotte Flair, who's goddamn main evented WrestleMania, Ronda Rousey, we throw it not for performance, but for name value, or Bianca Belair, who's new and fresh and has overperformed. Is Sasha Banks? I don't remember watching any of her matches. Did I miss anything? What great promos does she cut? Does she need to be in a main event at WrestleMania in the actual ring or only in her own mind? What is your summation of this?
I think she's really good. Now, she is slight, and that would probably be one of the things you may kill her for, but she's in shape, and her matches are good. Now, she's been injured several times I can think of, so that was a tag put on her early on that she was injury-prone. However, whether that's fair or not, she's been good in the ring. She's excessively popular. That's the thing. The reaction she's still getting. She's still trending on Twitter. And I'm not saying like as of the last few days. I mean months after she has left. She's still trending. People still want to know what's going on with her. She was on The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, which is a pretty big show. So obviously she wants to do things outside of a WWE system. She's really good. If you ask me to rank their women there, I think the most valuable one they have is Becky Lynch by far. And I think because of the long-term implications, 2 and 3 are Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. I think that next level, in terms of star power, like no one's clamoring for Charlotte Flair, and I think Charlotte Flair is great. And obviously you do too. Charlotte Flair is fantastic. You don't hear people on Twitter just, when is she coming back? There are some, I'm not saying nobody, but with Sasha, people are still dying to see her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is something
and
there.
there's a difference also in that, honestly, Charlotte, and especially because she's a heel, but she's not a likable heel, she's a bitchy heel, she's the girl that needs to work with the star because she's the best physically, she's most experienced, the best worker, the person to have the big match and finally lose in the end to the Becky or the Bianca or even the Rhea or whatever, I think.
Is it straight up Ric
Charlotte's
Flair?
value rather than selling tickets on her own merits. What now?
Do you think Charlotte's just like straight up a female Ric Flair, or are there some differences in how you would use her?
Well, there's differences, but there's a lot of similarities also. But at this point now, she's been there for long enough that she's not going to get any hotter as far as selling tickets, but she's over because of the body of work, and she's still valuable in terms of the way she can perform in the ring. She can have the match against the other three I just mentioned that maybe they couldn't have as well with each other. So there's something to be said for that. But Sasha, okay, you have placed somewhere in that environment, in that stratosphere.
Yeah, and again, in terms of who she came up with, coming out of NXT, it was her and Charlotte, with Becky and Bayley behind them. So,
but but then the question is, if that's her importance to the WWE, how does New Japan? And I know obviously they didn't give her a contract that was anywhere near what she asked for the WWE from. She would be asking for a full-time deal from the WWE or a major contract. I'm sure this is either
per appearance
or per possibly handful of a set number of appearances, whatever, for bigger money for each appearance than the WWE would give her, but the WWE would be more appearances. But having said that, okay, I understand. When Bruiser Brody got big money for Japan, Stan Hansen got big money for Japan. I can see when Chris Jericho got the big money for Japan. Sasha Banks, is there a wait? New Japan doesn't do women's wrestling.
No, they do now.
They do now. When did they start this?
I believe they're working with the Stardom promotion.
Oh, good Lord! Well, I'm sure Uncle Dave grew 3 sizes that day when he heard that.
Because that's one of the big rumors going around, is that Kairi Sane, the former Kairi Sane, what was her real name? I forget what her name was now in Japan.
Hey.
But she's over in Japan. Remember, she left WWE like a year and a half ago, and she's over there wrestling over there, that it'll be her and the former Sasha Banks. I don't know if she'll go by her real name or some kind of cool nickname she comes up with. But that's the rumored match or setup to the match that's going to happen.
Are the Japanese ticket purchasing patrons going to give a shit about this match or any other? Is there a women's match that New Japan could put together that is I understand an attraction on the card with main event matches, but to be worth that amount of money, are they going to get that amount out of it?
Well, let me say
whatever
this.
That amount is.
I said before, she's had good matches. And it would be interesting if she all of a sudden shows what she could do outside of the WWE system. I mean, there's going to be some curiosity there. But if you have a women's promotion and you want to get American talent, there's no bigger free agent than her. And I can't even think of when the next time there will be one, unless Charlotte finally gets out of her contract.
And then we don't know what the large amount of money is, so we can't really determine whether she's worth it or not to the company. What you're saying is they may be trying to take the tactic that, well, we're not going to sell the tickets to this match that will allow us to recoup our investment on this woman, but we are now working with, or our parent company owns the women's promotion, so to have her involved to get attention for that promotion, it's an investment rather than just, we're going to draw a lot of fans to see this particular match.
It's not going to draw, I don't think, anyone, and I don't think it needs to. If it's on the Tokyo Dome show, the Dome itself will draw X amount of fans, and the other big matches, not to say that it wouldn't be a big match, but the big New Japan matches traditionally are what draw on the big New Japan Tokyo Dome show.
Right.
So you don't need to worry about that.
I guess that's what I didn't think about them having the other promotion, because I was trying to figure out how it was worth it to them in any capacity for Sasha Banks to be on their card, not even knocking Sasha Banks, just why. I could understand China when Inoki was fascinated with China. That would fit that era of Japan, but all of a sudden, boom. But if they've got the girls promotion they want to get attention for, then maybe that will light the magazines and the reporters up.
And maybe it is like Jericho in a good way. You know, Jericho wanted to work with Omega. Maybe she wants to work with her friend over there that she worked with in WWE. She knows she'll get a big payday or maybe a series of them. Kind of live the lifestyle she's living where she's on the go and can kind of be the celebrity she wants to be and own everything and not have to deal with WWE. It may be a good deal for her.
Well, you should have been her agent. Maybe you could even got her more money. Or elsewise, you could have set her up with Mandy Rose's OnlyFans and they could have had a duel.
She could make more money. No, but when I said to you before, seriously, I mean, obviously we know, and we've talked about the issues with Tessa Blanchard, there are no major, and she doesn't mean anything like Sasha Banks would on an international stage or on an American stage or just any wrestling stage, really.
Yeah.
There's no bigger wrestling free agent that's a woman, and who else would come up that would become a free agent that would be that valuable?
And that's true. Well, everybody else that's a name as far as women's wrestling is either retired or under contract to one place or the other, pretty much, right?
Right.
There is no person of Sasha's level floating around out there not accounted for. Except where's Naomi?
I was about to say, whatever happened to Naomi? No one's talking about her. Where's
Poor
she?
Naomi. She's like, yeah, Sasha, you and me against the world. Where the fuck Sasha go? Naomi's thinking.
I'll be in Japan.
Yeah. Sasha's at the Tokyo Dome and Naomi's at the Panda Express. Poor thing. That'll teach you solidarity. Yeah, walk out with your sister. Walk out with your sister and get left behind like a stepchild.